Hello and welcome to, I guess this is episode 2 of everything you need to know about, and today we're going to be talking about EPM for Mac. Just before we get going, I don't know if we can just do a quick sound check. Can everyone hear me? Oh, I got a thumbs up from Peter. Thank you very much indeed. Very good then. Okay, so first of all, I guess usual disclaimers. I've got a bunch of buttons and big box, complicated box in front of me, so I'm probably going to push the wrong button. It's quite difficult for me to do the presentation and make sure I'm actually broadcasting the right screen. I've got monitors and everything, but sometimes I forget to do a transition. So I'll do my very best to get that all hooked up. What do we got? So we've got the portal screen, that's there. We then got the presentation screen, which is where the slides are, and then I've got the main screen, which is where I'm talking to you now, and then I've got the target endpoint screen, which hopefully you can see here. Now the camera for that is over here because I've kind of got to do kind of typing on that. So hopefully we've got a good setup. Anyway, right. So I'm going to get onto the presentation screen now, and basically we can get going. I think first of all, just a quick welcome and introduction. Basically, I think as I mentioned this last time, it's really important that we do these things, presentations live. I got interesting email in from a customer, I think it was last week, where they sent it wasn't a customer, but I mean a prospective customer, where they were basically asking for a demonstration and explicitly said, I don't want to have a presentation like PowerPoint slides, I need to see the product. And I thought that was quite funny because that's basically all we do. We just show the product. We virtually never do presentation based slides because, again, as I said last time, you, the customer, are using the product live. You're not using PowerPoint slides. You're actually using the product in a live situation. So you need to see it working live. That's how we do our product demos, and that's how and why I'd like to show you the product today in a live setting. And fingers crossed, everything goes okay with all the other tech. But that's the point of all this, is to show it live because it's a live solution and you need to use it live as well. So that is the first thing. Okay. So onto the topic of the talk, which is about Mac. So Admin By Request, I guess obviously Windows makes up the vast majority of the customers' needs, but there's an increasing number of customers that are looking for Mac solutions for Macs, and this is fantastic news. Obviously for us, our solution supports both Windows, Mac, and Linux. And I think if we're looking at the type of customer that is wanting Mac support, it's interesting that the user profile is quite, it's kind of one end of the scale and the other. So on the one hand, a very high percentage of customers that want Mac support want them for their developers. So this is a usage profile that basically quite demanding, lots of admin, and I guess at the same time a heavy requirement for auditing and also safety and security as well for developers. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you've got the C-level executives who want a nice shiny laptop with a Mac logo and all the rest of it. They're not going to do a huge amount of elevation, maybe not even any elevation. Maybe that elevation needs to be extremely protected by the support people that come onto that laptop. Need to be far more heavily audited than for a standard user. So, but at the same time, there could be a lot of very important sensitive information on that person's laptop as well. So it's both ends of the spectrum. And hopefully today I'll show you how the product can suit both of those types of use cases, and hopefully many more as well. Okay then, so where do you normally start with a project if you're looking to... Oh, actually, one other thing I'd say is that on the channel, we don't have a huge amount of content on there, the Zero Crust channel, about Mac. And this live show is basically, hopefully, the start of putting that right. So if you're a first-time viewer, and welcome, and hopefully you'll find this video about our Mac EPM product very useful. Anyway, so back to implementation. So as I mentioned, many customers looking at using Admin By Request EPM for developers, and developers are the hardest, I would say, the kind of group of users to revoke admin rights from. So it's something you need to do with great care in order to get full acceptance. If you get this wrong, then what could happen is that those developers are going to push back. Maybe they'll start making excuses. They can't do work on time. Projects get missed. And then end of the day, someone upstairs is going to say, look, guys, we can't work like this. We just give them back the human rights that they need, the local admin rights. So really, the strategy really here, to the best strategy for implementing the product in sensitive environments for sensitive souls like developers, would be to invoke what I guess we call it an audit mode, but it's not essentially a mode. It's basically implementing the product for these developers, but have the revoke option turned off. So you can see here on the screen, you can see here, this is the page, and I can go to the portal side here. If I just show you this, so basically if I go into the setting would be I'm using subsettings today, by the way, so I've got two subsettings. I've got one for my users and then also one for the help desk. So this is for the support assist functionality. So if I click on edit, then I would go into lockdown, and you can see I've actually got revoke turned on here, but to do the audit mode, what you would do is you would go and turn that off. So what that basically means is that you implement the product, but you don't revoke the rights. So the developers continue to use their systems just as they would normally do. There's absolutely no difference. They won't notice a thing. But what you will notice is that you'll get audit reports in the audit log of what sort of things those developers are elevating. And then that allows you to start creating rules so that when the time comes to remove the rights, it's done smoothly and hopefully without any complaints, and people can just get on and do their work and do it safely. So how the best way to really show how this works, I mean, there's not really much to it, but what I will do is I'm going to switch over to this system here, and I'm actually going to log out of this user, and I'm going to just log in as a full admin, just so you can see how that works here. So okay, so I'm going to go in here, just make sure I'm broadcasting the right screen. I am. So I'm just logging in as a full admin, but basically this is essentially what would happen if you implemented the product and you didn't revoke the admin rights. So what you'd see is the Admin By Request icon in the top status bar. That would be a kind of a red color. There it is. You see it's up here. So yeah, that would be red, and that signifies that you're a full admin. So as a developer, really, I'm going to be using my system just as I had before, assuming I had local admin rights. And let's actually, I'm going to just cut away to the portal here, and let me just look at the audit log just to show you the latest log. So you can see here, I did a little test beforehand, but this, when the user is bright red, it means that the user is a full admin, and that's the user I'm logged in with. And this was done at about 9 o'clock this morning. So if I go back here and I again do that little Google Chrome installation, like so, this will install Google Chrome. Here it goes. Hopefully the audio is okay. And then I'm going to switch back to here, hit refresh, and then you should see a new audit log. There it is. So you can see this is what I've just done. So I can audit everything that is going on systems that developers are using without impacting their work at all. And then if I wanted to, I could create kind of rules. So I could create a certificate rule, or put it in the subsetting for this specific installer, or for Google, log it and then save that in there. And then I can start populating these applications that developers are using, so that when we come to take those rights away, that is all done seamlessly. And there's a good video actually on the channel that shows you how to do revocation in a sort of gradual manner, as opposed to doing a sort of big bang. Okay, so that is what we call audit mode. Let's move on now to actually showing what happens when you are using the product as a non-administrator, because that's what we want to do. We want to revoke those admin rights and be productive, but not have permanent rights. So for this, I'm going to have to log back out of my system, and I'm going to have to log in as that non-privileged user. So I'm going to log out. Quick check to make sure you can see that. Okay, that's good. Okay, and I'm going to log back in, like so. Cool. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do admin session, which is I would say the sort of recommended configuration for developers, because as we mentioned before, developers do a lot of admin. Admin session enables them to request a amount of time and then get approval for that, and then do their work, have it audited, and it's a lot more productive than having for them to request apps, specific multiple apps each time. So let's have a look to see how the configuration of this looks. So let's go back to the portal. Again, I've got to keep remembering to switch the screens. Okay, so we have admin session, and I want to turn this on because I actually had turned that off beforehand. So let's just turn that on, and that's all good. Perfect. So back on the endpoint, let's see what this looks like. Here we go. So if I'm a developer, I need to do some stuff as admin. I want to request admin access. So I'm going to hit yes. And I need to put a reason in, so I need to install Road Central and maybe some other stuff. Oops, there we go. So that request goes off, and you'll see that request in the request area. You'll also should see on here, you'd notice that I've got a request on my phone, because I've got the app installed on the phone here. My phone has gone to sleep. Okay, so I would go to requests. There it is. So then I would then go and click here and click approve. Okay, there we go. Done. And then on the endpoint, you can see that request has come through, and I should now get my admin session up. Well, so far so good. Now I'm going to do the, I think I downloaded Road Central here, so here we go. And I'm going to do this, agree, all computers, and then install, and then I can use my fingerprint, and then done. I'm going to keep that and finish the session, and we're done. Easy as that. Right, let's go and have a look what that looks like on the audit log. So we'd be in the session log, and you can see if I go into the session here, this is the last one we've just done. You can see Road Central is indeed shown in there. So really, that is a very good example of a admin session with request, and you can see how that kind of works. And you can obviously configure the amount of time that you developers can have. I probably recommend more than 30 minutes. Actually, for initial implementation, I always recommend you give developers more time, a lot more time initially than they need, to avoid like kind of ticking timer anxiety that you can get sometimes, because people just aren't used to working with a ticking down timer. So always recommend giving them more at the start. Right then, let us go and have a look at the second option page, which is single app approval. So this is where you want to avoid giving a user an admin session. That profile of the C-level executive, perhaps this is one that might have a configuration like that. So you don't want to give a user admin session. You want to just have the approval be per app, because I gave someone an admin session now, and I put the reason for Road Central, but in theory I could have installed something else. I mean, it would be logged, but with a per app approval, as you'll see, that is very much you request a specific app, that app is allowed, and then you can install that specific app. So let's just remind ourselves of the configuration for this. You can see, so that is configured with run as admin, and it's just turned on. So you can see run as admin's on. I can go and turn off admin session. Now I don't need that. And basically we're going to now go and switch to show you what run as admin with approval looks like. So let's go to the endpoint, and I think for this one, actually what I'm going to do is show you something else here, because what I've configured, the next slide here is the next feature I want to show you is machine learning, and I've enabled machine learning, and I've got it configured so it's currently just needing one approval to learn in, and this will become apparent in a bit when we do this, but just bear that in mind that I've got machine learning turned on. So anyway, right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go and install Notion, and I'm going to basically just drag that to my application folder, okay, like so, and then I'll get popping up soon, hopefully, unless I didn't do that correctly. Oh, I did that. Maybe I didn't drop it on properly. Okay, let me just make sure I've not done something wrong here. I've not already installed, is it? Maybe I already installed it. I've been doing a lot of testing on this, so maybe no. Okay, interesting. It should just go in here and then install. Okay, that's annoying. Right. Is this the right one? Downloads. Yeah, you know what? I did this just before, obviously, and everything was fine. And of course, it's live. This is what happens when you do live things. But let me just do something quickly, because it might be that I've inadvertently done something wrong. Okay, let me just log out of here, because it might be that I just need to log out and log in again. That's a shame. That's not expected. Okay, let's just make sure this is all working. So what is supposed to happen is that when I fire this up, I am supposed to get, there we go. Right then, good. Okay, we'll cut that bit out. Oh, it's live. Right, so I need to install Notion, like so. Hit OK. And then I'll get the request, and you'll see hopefully the request has now appeared on the phone over here. And I'm going to just go over here. There it is. So, and I'm going to go in and approve it here. I could approve it here, or I could approve it on the portal, but let's just do it on the phone because why not? I'll go and approve that. It's nice doing it on the phone because then you can see it. Come on. You didn't hit that right. Yeah, okay, right. Yeah. Okay, well you saw me do this earlier, so let's go into the request area. Oh, it has approved. Okay, good. Oh, it's on the, okay, I see. Right, my phone's just being slow. So you can see the on the system here that the request has been approved. So I can now go ahead and retry that. And if I drag it there, then what happens is that you'll see that I don't get the request screen now. I now get this screen. So now it'll go off and install Notion, and hooray, that all works fine. Let's go back to here and just see what that looks like in the audit log. Okay, you can see Notion is here. Now, I mentioned earlier about machine learning. So I had enabled that, and I set it to learn in when one instance of an application was approved. And now that's happened because we've now approved Notion. So if I go to my settings report, where's it gone? Reports, system settings, machine learning settings, you'll see in here that Notion has got one count. Okay, so that's very handy. So what we're going to do, we're going to switch back here, and then we're going to go and have a look at machine learning. So machine learning is a cool feature because it enables you to sort of automate the ability to automatically learn in things that have been approved. Using a slider, you can set the threshold. It's currently set at 1, but I could set it at whatever I want, over 1. And once you have a certain number of approvals in, then it gets learnt in so that future approvals aren't required. So what happened here is I've requested Notion, that's been approved. My threshold is set at 1. And actually now what's going to happen is when I start Notion up, it's going to want to update. But obviously, because it's already been learnt in, that will just go through as a straightforward elevation. So if we go switch back to here, I'm now going to, so we've installed Notion. So Notion, this is the older version of Notion, so it should be here. And so this will fire up. You can see it will be shown as Notion 1. And there we go. Straight away, Notion's tried to update, and it's prompting me now, so I can just go ahead. I don't need to go through the approval process because we've learnt it in. Like so. Okay, so that is now updating, and you'll see in a minute, once that update finishes, I need to close Notion down, like so, and then Notion would then update, and you will see that we have a newer version of Notion running. So if I click Notion again, hooray, there we go. So you can see we're now on 4. So that's a nice little demo of how we did the where have I gone? Here I am. We did the approval, and that was machine learnt in, and then the subsequent update of Notion didn't need to go through that approval process because the machine learning had learned it in already. And if I go, yeah, I didn't think actually it would, if I go here, I think if I hit refresh here, yeah, it just says 1 because that's the number of times it's being elevated, so that's fine. Cool. Okay, so that's machine learning. That's very good. Let's switch back to here and look at the next thing to show. Pre-approval. Okay, so yes, machine learning is great. You can also, import entries into machine learning. So you can, if you don't want to have to manually learn, learn them in, you can actually import them from the, from the list of previously elevated applications, like I've done here. But if you have some vendors you just want to approve, then obviously you can automatically approve, then you can just add them to pre-approval. So this is the same functionality you get on PC. So if we go back to our Road Central app here, we can pre-approve, we can put it in the subsetting, and just go here, we could just do vendor pre-approval like so. Actually, I'm going to log that, I forgot to log it. Just do logging like so. Excellent. And then if we go back to the endpoint here, there we go. If I go and find my, where's it gone? Road Central installer. Okay, there we go. So I don't need to go through the approval process because I pre-approved Road as a vendor. Perfect. And I'm going to keep that. Simple as that, really simple as that. That's all there is to it. We just pre-approving the application in here, the vendor, or the specific file, and then that just means that you can bypass the approval system, and that's good. Okay, so that is that. And again, this functionality you'll get on the PC version as well. So just to show you that. Let us go back to this slide. What's next then? So we have MFA. Okay, so up to now we've been looking at the authenticate mode and also confirm mode, which is what you get when you do pre-approvals. You might want to implement MFA so that when a user does or requests an elevation, that an MFA prompt is required to do so. And therefore we have to set this up. So for this to work, you need to have a entry joined Mac, which is what I've got here. I've got company portal. You can set it up with platform SSO. But the main thing is you need an account that is entry joined in order to perform that authentication. So if I just go back into here, I'm going to just go to my authenticator, and hopefully that you can see that a bit later. Good, hang on a second, so it'll be this one here. Okay, so let's go and configure this. And so easy to do. But what I'm going to do is what am I going to use for the elevation? Probably just, I'll just do an admin session actually, that might just be easier. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to turn, I've got my admin session turned on, so that's fine. Don't want approval because we've done the approval part. Let's just go and start an admin session, but we're going to use the multi-factor authentication mode to do that. Okay, and also if you want to, you could apply MFA on pre-approvals too. So for example, that Road Central, I could install it without need to go to approval, but I'd need to get MFA, need to pass the MFA on that one. So that's basically save that configuration in. So let us go to the endpoint and have a look and see what this looks like. Right then, so and if I did have approval enabled, then obviously I'd have to go through approval as well. So if I just go request administrator access, you'll now see the MFA prompt comes up. So this is different than before. Before we had the confirm or the authenticate prompt, but now I actually get a challenge for MFA. So I'm going to type in my demo user, so that'll be T1 at t1teamabr.com. Like so. I get my challenge. Right, there we go, it's popped up, that's nice. Right, yeah, okay, that's good. Oops, need to do the face. Perfect. Okay, and voila, I have my session. So that's a nice example of just the MFA working on a Mac. Yeah, using your 365, and I do believe in future we'll have support for other IDPs as well, but right now I think there is only Office 365. So that is that. That's good. Let me go back to the slide and have a look at the next one. Right, Support Assist. So this is a really good feature, because this is something that you could, thinking back to that profile we talked about earlier of the C-level executive and the help desk people, and you want to make sure a few things. First of all, you want to make sure your help desk people do not have permanent full administrator rights on all systems. That's a big no, so you don't want to do that. You want your help desk staff to have minimal privilege, so standard user accounts, and then you want your EPM to essentially upgrade just enough privilege for just the right amount of time when those on systems that they're allowed to be able to access. So in this situation, we have a help desk person needing to access or help fix a problem with the C-level person's system, and we want to absolutely make sure that that is the right person. There's not someone trying to be an imposter or something. So let's just go, first of all, let's just do a quick recap on how to set this up. So Support Assist is very simple to set up. All you need to do, oops, Windows settings, wrong one, hang on, is to have two subsettings. So you have your user subsetting, so that's the your subsetting, which has got your kind of standard minimal privileges here, and then you have your help desk subsetting, of which your help desk team member is a member of, and these ones have got more privilege. So for example, they might have a longer, they might have an admin session and you without approval with more time, for example. So let's just go into users. Let's just create this scenario. So we got into authorization. Let's turn off the admin session. Okay, like so. And this should mean then that our, let me just finish this. So now what should happen is that we shouldn't be able to do, yeah, I can't do an admin session. I don't, because we turned it off. Of course, we've still got that pin code option. So, I mean, there's another video I've done about pin codes, but essentially pin codes are manual overrides, so that you could do offline as well. So I can't do an admin session. So that's good, because I don't want my C-level executive doing admin sessions, and I can basically say, you can elevate these applications, you can maybe use approval, machine learning, but you're not doing an admin session. Okay, cool. Now I've got a support help desk person's got to come along and do some work using a remote session. I need to make sure that help desk person is running under least privileges using our EPM, but is who they say they are. So let's have a look at how to do that. So the support person would have to get access to use the remote software. Now we have secure remote access and remote support. Soon we will have this on Mac, but for now you would need to use another remote access product. Once you're on the desktop, of course, you will soon find out that you can't do admin sessions. And to fix this problem, you do need an admin session as a support person. So this is a classic situation for Support Assist. So you would go into assistance mode, you would start, and here you have the MFA. So the MFA here is done for the supporter, not for the end user here. So that would be a different user. This one, Adam. Okay. Like so. And again, I need to authenticate. It's all good. Oops. Okay, that's good. And then you'll see now that we're in an assistant session. Okay, and I will be able to do an admin session. There we go. Perfect. So you can see that the benefits of that is that, you know, we can expose more privilege to our help desk users without giving them permanent privilege for everything, and have it audit logged as well. I'm actually just going to leave that session running for a bit because I'm going to switch back to here, and I think the next one is about system setting lockdown. Okay, so this is interesting because we're in a support assist session here, and what I want to show you is the lockdown settings. Okay, so if we go into system settings, I always get a bit confused with this because, like, what does this mean? Does this mean I can access users and groups, or does this mean I can't? But what it means is that when I'm running an admin session, if I was able to run an admin session as this particular profile of use, this subsetting, I would be able to do these things. They are turned on, but I'm not able to use these things under an admin session when it's turned on. However, I have a subsetting for the help desk, which I believe I've set differently. So you can see the help desk are allowed to access all of those settings, so under an admin session. So if I was to go to system settings, I can get access to users. Where's it gone? Users and groups. There we go. Okay, so I can access these things because of the settings in lockdown for the support assist user. So if I just close this down and I finish the admin session and I finish the support assist, thus this takes the user back to their standard profile. So I would not be able to do an admin session, but let's just I didn't switch the screen, did I? So anyway, I've just stopped the admin session. What do I want to show you now? So actually I think I messed that up. I didn't show you what I was doing. So let me just try that again then. So support assistance, I need to keep an eye on this. Okay, it is tricky. I forget. teamabr.com. So many buttons. Right, okay, so if I do this again. Good. Okay, no. So assistant session is running. And then I'm going to go to network settings. Settings, and I should be able to go into, actually I need to start my admin session, don't I? So start the admin session. Yeah, start that. There it goes. Right. So I should be able to go in here and I should be able to go into users and groups and see those. Good. Right, you can see all that. Excellent. Now let's close that, close the admin session, close the assistance mode, like so. Now this is what I want to show you. So go back on here. Let me go just to show you how that, just to prove that all works for you. Let's go to my users and let's reactivate the admin session. Okay, and what I want to show you is just show you what it looks like when stuff is blocked in system settings. Okay, so let me just go again, just check I've got the right screen showing. I've got an MFA. This time I'm going to MFA as the user at t1teamabr.com. Oop, what have I done wrong? Okay. Maybe I typed in the password wrong. Typical. Right. Okay, admin session running, and I try and get into users. Where's it gone? I can't see it. There it is. so I can't get in. Okay, so that is what that does. So I won't be able to get access to users and groups or login items because we've got it locked down under an admin session. But you saw when I did the support assist, which enabled the support user to import their settings, we had all of those system settings enabled for that support user. So that's very nice indeed. So you can see how that could be quite handy in when you're supporting and you want the support people to be using the EPM with controlled privilege of certain parts of the OS, and whereas your standard users, you can have those safely locked down and controlled. Okay, we can just check the audit log as well. So you can see the other nice thing about Support Assist is you get this joint log. So you get to see who the end user was that was helped and who was doing the helping. So that's also nice from an auditing perspective, so that you can keep a good log of exactly. So not only have you removed your admin rights from your support people, but you've got a really good way of auditing what is being done. And if I had done a run as admin for Support Assist, you'd see, I think I did one, I was testing Notion with it earlier yesterday, I think it was, and you can see exactly what that support person installed. So that's quite handy if you work in shifts and you have a colleague who's been working helping a user, he goes off shift, the person comes in, takes over, they can go and check and see exactly what was done on the last session. So it's actually, and also if there are support people accessing the systems of important people, then obviously you've got a full log of exactly who did what on what computer and when. Perfect. Right. Okay. I think there's only just one more actually, which is really obviously we wouldn't want to recommend giving sudo to too many people because you can do a whole lot of stuff with sudo, but there are certain people out there or roles that just require sudo. So this is something that you can control within the lockdown settings. So if we go and have a look here, and where is it gone? Settings, Mac subsettings, API users, and lockdown. So I could admin session. So I can basically turn on the allow sudo. But I'm not going to turn it on just yet because I'm just going to show you what it looks like when it's not allowed. So I've got my admin session. So sudo would only be allowed under an admin session. You can't do it without an admin session. So let's go over to the endpoints and we are going to start an admin session. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just turn off the MFA because I think it's just going to take a lot of time. So let's go over to the endpoint and I'm going to just go back onto authenticate mode. I think that'll just save a bit of time. Perfect. Okay, right. So let me just do request admin session. There it is. And if I was going to make sure I'm showing that, so I don't know if you can see, it's a little bit squishy, but if I was to go sudo vi, type in my password, it's going to say I can't do sudo stuff. Okay, so I've successfully been able to block the sudo even though I've got an admin session. Okay, so that's pretty cool. So that's good. Let's finish the admin session and let's return back to the configuration here. So let's go into lockdown and go back to admin session, and now we're going to allow sudo, but also we're going to do force close at end. And the reason for that is if I do allow sudo for a terminal in an admin session and I didn't force close at end, I could in theory let that terminal continue forever. And I could maybe launch stuff off that. So I'd rather not do that. So I'm going to force close when the timer for the admin session or the admin session itself finishes. So let's go back to the endpoint and let's redo this. So we're going to go request an admin session. Go yes, so there's the admin session comes up, start my terminal, and I'm going to go sudo vi, again enter my password, so, and there we go. So I've managed to run Vim at as sudo, and if you remember, we have the force close at session end enabled, so if I was to this was to time out, or if I was just to hit to finish, you could see that closes that. And if I go onto the audit log and hit audit here, go into the sessions and go to here, you can see actually there's the session, and in the session you can see there is a little log of the application that I ran as sudo here as well, so that's handy to have as well. Okay, so I think that's probably, I don't know if there are any questions from anyone out there, anyone watching, but I think those are the 10 things I wanted to show. Got a good idea of how it's supposed to work, general overview of functionality on Mac. We covered all the important things: admin session, put out pre-approval, MFA, you've got the machine learning in there, you've got a whole lot of stuff in there. So hopefully I've given you a good heads up, and as usual, please just like and subscribe to the channel, as they say, and if you have any suggestions for the next episode of everything you need to know, just drop me a line. But for now, it's been great to do the show with you, and hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you soon. Cheerio and toodaloo.